Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about Wolfheart's brand new album, Constellation of the Black Light, out September 28th on Napalm Records. This album has 7 songs and it's 41 minutes in length. Now, I want to tell you guys this, I was really excited about this record from the time the band announced that they were releasing a brand new album in September. Then my curiosity got super peaked when Breakwater and The Saw came out. Those two singles really gave me 2 different songs, so it allowed my mind to really wonder in terms of what this record was going to have to offer. Normally before I sit down to listen to a Wolfheart album, I empty my thoughts and I really try to put myself in Thomas's shoes so I can try to better understand what the vision for the album, what the vision for the songs was when he was sitting down to create the record. I always fail at that because I don't think I have the necessary tools to really put myself in his shoes and to really understand where his mind is coming from. He's a very unique person in the way he creates music, so it's impossible for me to achieve that. So the best way that I have in order to get the most out of a Wolfheart album is to really empty my mind and allow the music to speak to me. So this album review is really about how I connected with this album more than anything. So I'm going to try to explain to you guys what a ride it was listening to this album, the things that I really enjoyed about this album, and how I felt about this album throughout the whole listening experience from song 1 to song 7. So let's get this underway. To me, this album really has 3 key components: atmosphere, brutality, and melody. Those 3 components are the 3 components that put this whole album together. It really combines aspects of melodic death metal with doom and even with black metal. Those 3 genres have key components in the overall structure and in the overall creation of the album as far as I'm concerned. But the overall, above all of that, this album really plays like a cinematic score. This album really has a lot of atmosphere to it. It has a really dynamic ambiance, so it gives the listener a sense of a movie, a sense of a big silver screen, of a cinematic score. This album really plays like a musical movie, if you will. You can close your eyes, let the music take you on a journey, take you through this cinematic journey, if you will, from song 1 to song 7, with peaks and valleys, with crescendos, with climax, with more romantic storylines, if you will. This album is a movie and musical format. Best way I have to describe it. This album is very different, and to me, what they've created here is perhaps the best Wolfheart album to date. In my opinion, Constellation of the Black Light is, without a doubt, the best Wolfheart album to date. To me, is the more mature album, the more creative album, the more dynamic album, perhaps one of the more brutal yet melodic and melancholic albums that they have done. Nothing felt like it was out of place, nothing felt like it was done by chance. Every single solo, every guitar riff, every lyric, every chorus felt that there was a lot of time and thought put into every single process, every single song, and then the overall structure of the album. This album really felt like a living work of art. Really an album that you can, once you listen to this record, you can feel the amount of work that went from the band to put this record together. This record has a lot of work in it, and it shows in its quality, and it shows in the quality of the music. I'll tell you guys one thing. There are 2 components in this album that really give this album a very strong, almost black atmospheric vibe to it, which is the use of acoustic guitar and piano. They did not overuse it, they just sprinkle it in at the right places at the right time in the right songs. Very subdued, very mellow, but it gives the song the atmosphere, the nuance, the overall vibe that the song really craves for, without really overusing it and becoming overbearing. Beautifully done, majestic, I would say majestic. The way they composed the songs on this record is nothing short of a masterpiece. Really well done. They really incorporated these components in order to give the songs a little bit more melody where it needed to have more melody, but also to give it a little bit more darkness and despair where the song really called for it. One thing I will say before I start breaking down my favorite songs on the album, It's not every day that I listen to a record and I feel such a strong and deep emotional connection to this album. During a few songs of this record, I honestly shed some tears during some of the solos and even during some of the choruses. That's how deep the connection it was for me listening to this record. I just felt an emotional attachment to the beautiful melodies of the guitars, some of the beautiful solos on this album, and even to some of the lines in the chorus. It was impossible for me to hold that back. There are some solos on this record that honestly felt to me that the guitar was speaking to me, that the guitar was trying to tell me something, that the guitar understood my pain and my suffering in my own personal life and things that have happened, and it was there for me, like a shoulder for me to cry on. It really felt that way at some of the songs. When you put together an album that makes the listener feel that emotional connection to it, you have outdone yourself. This to me is one of the greatest metal albums of 2018, by far one of the top albums of this year. It's just perhaps the only album that I've heard this year, and I've enjoyed a lot of records, but this is perhaps the only album that has done that to me, that has allowed me to feel that deeper connection to the point where I feel like the musicians and their music is speaking directly to me in a way that really touched me in a deep spot of my heart. So I felt that really strong connection with this record. This is going to be a record that's going to be impossible for me to put it away for a very long time. And it's going to be a record that every time these songs get played, it's always going to take me back to that moment where I heard that song for the first time. Now, as far as my favorite songs are concerned, it was really hard for me to pick 3 songs because I really like all 7. There are no fillers, there are no easy tracks that you can just skip if you're not in the mood to listen to the whole record. And by the way, I highly recommend you guys listen to this record from song 1 to song 7 to get really the full experience of what this album is. I really feel this album is better served listening from song 1 to song 7 because of the cinematic vibe of the album. It really works better in sequence versus on random shuffle. So if you're going to sit down, at least for the first time that you're going to listen to the record, really listen to it from song 1 to song 7. This record is really a movie. It's really a cinematic movie in music format. So as any other movie, you don't want to start from the middle, you don't want to start from the end, you want to start from the beginning and watch it in sequence. Do yourselves a favor, do that with this record. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, I picked 3 songs that I believe offer something different. And perhaps these are the 3 songs out of all 7 that I connected with the most. I'll start with Everlasting Fall. That's the first song, the longest song on the record, just over 10 minutes. It has a beautiful acoustic guitar intro followed by an even more beautiful piano melody. I love how they started this song. I love how they constructed this song. A lot of bands perhaps would have broken the intro of this song and created a separate track and made an intro track into the album. I like what they did. I'm not a big fan of intro tracks, and when you have an intro track that really bleeds into the next song, why not just incorporate it and make that part of the song? To me, it just makes more sense. So to me, it almost felt that this is what they did with this album. They wanted to create an intro, but they didn't want to have an intro track. So they extended the intro of the first song of the album, Everlasting Fall, making that intro track part of the actual track. And it really works well. Beautiful introduction to the album, beautiful melody, beautiful atmospheric vibe at the start of the song. It really sets the tone at the start of the album. And keep this in mind as you're listening to the album, because it all comes to a closure at the end. So I really like the start of this song. I love the keyboard elements of this song. I really love what they've done with the piano. I really love the melody that they're putting in. The merger of melody, brutality, and atmospheric elements in this song really is the perfect synopsis of the whole album. If you want to grab one song from the album, if you ask me, give me one song that better represents the overall feel, structure, and sound of this new Wolfheart album, I would say Everlasting Fall is that song. This is the song that brings all of those different components, the melodic death metal component, the doom component, and the black metal, atmospheric black metal component into one song. This is it. You have all of those elements into one song, and that's the first song of the album. Perfect way to introduce you to the record. I love the alternation between more melodic riffs and more atmospheric riffs with heavy, heavy, brutal drums. This album this is one thing I didn't say before. This album has some of the best solos I've heard in a long time, but we cannot forget the drums. The percussions in this album are insane. The blast beats, the heaviness of it is just insane. And in this song is a perfect example of that. Incredible, heavy, brutal, yet atmospheric, yet very melancholic song. Really mixing well all those different components. This song also has one of my favorite solos of the album. One of those solos that I really felt a deep connection with. Absolutely beautiful and mesmerizing. Every time I listen to this solo, I find myself with my jaw just kind of dropping and me not being able to close it back. That's how mesmerizing the guitar solo is in Everlasting Fall. A beautiful way to start the album, a beautiful song. My second favorite song on the album is Breakwater, the first single. This song is brutality, period. It's just brutally heavy, and it's just an incredible song. Once again, the drums in this song, Jonas has done an incredible job as far as drumming is concerned in this album. Super heavy, super brutal drumming, and this song is a perfect example of that. The first thing that really piqued my interest and really made me like take a second glance at this song was the backing vocals that they used during the chorus. That was beautiful, very subdued in the background, but it added a very nice layer to the chorus. It added almost a sense of a choir. It added a little bit of a siren feel to it, almost like there's this ominous voice in the background lending itself to such a melodic section of the chorus. I really love what they did with that. It just gives the song such a dark and ominous vibe. This song to me has my favorite solo of the album. Mika's work on this album throughout the album is absolutely incredible. He killed it. He killed it on this record. But this solo, when I heard this solo for the first time, I really felt that the guitar was speaking to me, and I just felt that connection with the guitar and with the melody of that solo. Just incredible. Really well done. Really beautiful. Flows in with the song perfectly. It adds a song that's very brutal, very heavy. That solo gave a little bit of a break, and it gave the song the melancholy and the darkness that it really needed to counterbalance the brutality that this song really has. Having said that, the chorus is very melodic, but this song really alternates brutality with melancholy and with melody. It really alternates it well between the verses and the choruses, and then when you bring that solo together, when you put that solo into the song, it really gives that little sense of melancholy that the song really needed to allow the song to be more balanced and not to be heavy on one end or the other. Now, the last song on my list is Valkyrie, which is the last song of the album. If you guys remember the first song, Everlasting Fall, I said that it started with a beautiful acoustic guitar, followed by a piano melody that really set the tone. It was the perfect way to get into the record. Valkyrie has perhaps the best piano melody of the album, and I love what they did with this, because if you keep in mind how the album started with that acoustic guitar and that piano melody right following it right after, this album finishes on that same note. It finishes with an absolute beautiful piano melody. The piano is there throughout the song and key parts of the song, but I love how the album finished, how this song finished, because at the end of the song, the guitars, the drums, everything dissipates from the song, and all you get is that same piano melody to finish off the track. And the way they finish it, they didn't finish the song like slowly in, like gradually, the volume gradually decreasing, and you hear the piano gradually decreasing into oblivion, if you will. It was an abrupt finish. I really like that, because you're listening to that piano melody and suddenly it's over, it finishes. But to me, the piano, the ending melody of the piano in Valkyrie really fits well with the start of Everlasting Fall. They're two separate melodies, they're two separate identities and two separate songs, but in the structure and in terms of how the album starts and how the album finishes is very similar. So it really gives the whole album that cinematic vibe that I was speaking about earlier. It really gives the album a sense of a start of the movie and then the end of the movie, because in movies and in cinema, as in this record, there is always that sense of start and finish, that something begins and something comes to an end. And normally it's done in a very similar way. Obviously, it's a different part of the stories. They're at a different point of the storytelling process, but still there's a lot of similarities with how it starts and how it ends. And in this record, they did exactly the same thing with Everlasting Fall, with how that song started, and then Valkyrie with how that song ended. Valkyrie is a very dynamic and beautiful song. I really like what they did with it. The drum work and the guitar work in Valkyrie is incredible. Incredible is the only thing I can say. The dynamic that the song has, alternating melody with heaviness, it just gives the perfect ending to a well-balanced record. To me, once again, Constellation of the Black Light, one of the greatest metal albums of 2018, an album that will forever be remembered by me, and every time I listen to a song from this record, I will be taken back to the moment I heard it for the first time. That was the connection that I had with this album. If you haven't pre-ordered this album yet, do it immediately. Pick up this record. Do yourself a favor. You don't want to miss this album. And when you get it, close yourself in a room, turn off the lights, use a good sound system so you can pick up all the little components that they have in this record, and you'll have an experience that perhaps you haven't had yet this year. This is an album that you cannot bypass. You need to pick it up immediately. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. What are your thoughts on Wolfheart? What are your thoughts on this album if you had a chance to pick it up, pre-order it? And what are your thoughts on the first two singles? Which one of those did you prefer? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll be getting back to you guys soon. Take care, guys.